We pushed the button. What's up, everybody? Happy Friday to you. It is Friday, July 30th, 2021, and we're here, the live stream, live show, live thing, and we got to start the show off. We got to start it off right. Hey, if you're new to this channel, become a member. It's $5 a month, and you could do that. If you don't have $5 a month, you could get on Patreon and do it $1 a month, and then you could be a part of the community, and you could help support the show and the production of YouTube videos, mainly around the fish hobby is generally what this channel is about. If you are concerned about other content being on the live stream, that's because I'm a human being, and we generally talk about different things on the live stream here. Now today, if you guys have noticed, we have a special guest here today. From the thumbnail. She's not on the screen yet. She will be in just a second. Now, we have had 2 super chats today of $10, one from Mikey Fishy and one from Big D Smoke. So, in order to start the show, we shall take, YouTube's going to take a cut out of super chats and stuff, but that's life that we all have to live with. So, here's introducing our guest. There's your super chats. I gave them to Alyssa. There you go. Alyssa's got your super chats. She can buy gas and come out. Now, that is the minimum, okay? We're at the bare minimum right now of gas money because, as some of my more kookaloo friends have said, thanks, Biden, for raising gas prices, even though he doesn't have anything to do with raising gas prices. But gas prices are up, so at the very least, we can help with some gas money, right? So,
thank you.
It's Friday. We're here to talk about some stuff. We have a few topics, but we don't have a lot. And so we're reliant on you guys to ask questions in the chat today because we are both very tired. We've been very busy, okay? Alyssa's tired. I'm tired. We're both tired. We're very busy, and there's a million things going on right now. And we had show notes. They were digitally saved on this computer, and this computer freaked out and crashed, and they went away. So, are those excuses? No, those are just explanations. Because we could legit just sit here and talk about whatever we feel like talking about. But if you don't chime in, I'll never know. If you're like, hey, I wanted to know about what's something that you might want to know about? CO2 Let's say CO2 regulators.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Favorite CO2 regulator, right?
Yeah.
I wouldn't know that if you didn't chime in. So, chime in the chat. We'll do our best to answer most of the questions that we can.
Right.
And if we can't answer them, I generally will tell you we don't know. We have no answer. We don't know.
Yeah.
But it is what it is. So, as you guys know, Alyssa Bentley is an avid fish breeder.
I try to.
A snail breeder. A shrimp breeder, fish enthusiast. She does a bunch of rare pluckos and stuff that you and I would all be confused as to what the hell was going on, how to get them to breed and whatnot. As of yesterday, you said you dropped off a bunch of fish at Aquarium Co-op.
Mm-hmm.
They also will be for sale at Aquarium Co-op. If you happen to be in Edmonds, Washington, you could probably get some of her fish at some point in time.
Right. They went into the quarantine room, so I assume probably be a week or 2.
Quarantine time.
Yeah.
And then they'll move on to the floor eventually. Which big shout out to everybody up at the store there. Yesterday, in hot news, I posted onto Instagram a sort of cryptic picture, which I realized that I didn't send it through digitally, so we're gonna have to do this the old school way, where I actually just open up my phone. But I posted onto Instagram a cryptic picture here. See, of these Aquarium Co-op Yetis that were printed up for yesterday's employee party, where we got to go see a baseball game, and we had some good times. We ate some barbecue, and it was overall a good time. So shout out to everybody at Aquarium Co-op, and then for you, the viewer people, non-employee types, you could always stop by the store and buy some fish. So, was this a sponsored ad? No. It's not. It's just shout out. You know what I mean? It's just shout out style. Aquarium Co-op is a member of the channel, so I guess maybe it's technically. Is that does that count as a sponsorship?
I mean,
I
it
don't know.
depends. If anybody who joins is considered a sponsor of the channel, then yes.
Yeah, I guess so. I don't know. Federal Trade Commission can just leave me alone. That's the disclosure. How about that? Anyhow.
Right.
Yeah. So that was the employee party and stuff was going on. So that was pretty cool. We did that last night with all the people from Aquarium Co-op. Not you. You weren't there.
No.
I was there. And it was a pretty good time. We had fun. We ate some barbecue.
Oh, that's why they had to close the store at 4:30. Yeah, no, he was Robert, the buyer. He was telling me, he's like, "Oh, don't bring them up at store close because that's going to be at 4:30." And I was like, "No, I'm going to be there at store open." He's like, "Okay, because you could also come on the weekend." I was like, "No, bro, I'm coming on store open."
Yeah. I'm not coming on the weekend. It's wild. It's very busy. There's a lot of people.
Right, it was busy enough right at store open when I showed up on a Thursday at random. There was like two families in there. I'm like, this is a small store.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, it's pretty wild. You get like 10 or 15 people in there. And you're like, oh my god, this is crowded.
Yeah,
This is wild.
It's standing room only. We're gonna be moshing soon. Shoot.
Well, there aren't any seats in there, are there?
No.
Yeah.
Well, I think there's one.
I think there
behind
might be
the
a chair
desk.
or something. Yeah, I don't know. I can't remember. I was there last week, fixing some valves.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but hey, that's part of the gig, fixing stuff.
Yeah.
Anyhow, so that was yesterday, and then the other thing I wanted to talk about in regards to Aquarium Co-op, and to you people watching the show here, and when I say you people, you know what I mean, right?
I mean, all y'all.
I mean you people,
Yeah.
the Oceaneers.
All y'all folks watching us talk at you.
The Oceaneers. That's what I mean.
Apparently, this camera is crooked. Look how
I don't
the
care.
shelf is slanted. It's fun. I didn't notice until Mikey said something.
Yeah, I moved it. I moved the camera. It's because it would eat. All right. You want me to put it back where it was?
No, not really. I don't
All right,
care.
I'm doing it. You guys
Okay.
brought it up during the show.
Oh, that's true.
It
It's
seemed
a
important.
topic.
It seemed important because it was down here before.
Hmm.
And then when Alyssa scoots and moves it all, she ends up being directly behind the microphone. So I had moved it. So it was like this. Right? So
Mhm.
it's just a little easier.
Yep.
But, whatever. It doesn't matter. I'll just shake cameras around. It's our live show. Welcome to the live show. We'll move cameras around.
Where we shake cameras.
Yeah.
We shake them, and then we rattle them, and then we roll them.
I'm going to shake cameras. I'm going to rattle them around. It's going to get weird. You guys see some behind the scenes from not behind the scenes, but
right,
you know how
from
it
the
is.
front of the scenes.
Well, that's the thing. I can see patch cables behind you. See those patch cables back there? You weren't able to see those before. So why don't you know what y'all should do? You should just say, "Oh my God, I get to see behind the scenes."
You know what's cool is they're kind of in rainbow order.
Well, yeah, they're rainbow colored so that I know what they're plugged into.
I think it's neat.
Because it's like if you have the left side of track 1, right? And you go like, oh, that's red. I need to plug it in over here, right?
It's like when you get M&Ms and you sort them into a rainbow order before you eat them. It's like it's a joy thing.
Right.
I like it.
You got to sort them. You got to get them sorted. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
you can't just eat them willy-nilly.
I can eat them willy nilly. I do what I want. Yeah. Anyhow, yeah. So, yeah. The other thing I want to talk about the Oceaneers, so you guys know what's going on. I will be going to. I will be gone. I'm going to be gone for a couple of weeks. I'm be gone for a while. Starting at the beginning of next month. I think I'll be here Monday, and then that's it. Radio silence for quite a while.
Mm-hmm.
And y'all will probably get used to me being gone. That's probably how long I'm going to be gone. Because I'm gone for 1, 2.5, 3 weeks or something like that. I don't know. I'll be gone for a while. So,
Most
man, maybe
months.
the separation will make the heart grow fonder or something like that. But I will be down in Peru. I don't know if anybody's heard of Peru before. It's a country in South America.
Yeah.
So I will be.
It's not the long, skinny one. That's Chile.
It's the dot on the top of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. If Chile was the letter I, Peru is the dot.
I used to think it was the
The
and
long
then I
one?
looked at the map again, and then I was like, oh. And I
Well,
felt dumb.
they are touching. They're attached.
I was like, oh man, my 7th grade geometry teacher would be so disappointed.
Your geometry?
Geography.
Well, I think your geometry teacher would also be disappointed.
Probably. Be like, 1, why are you coming to me with this?
1, that's not geometry. 2, that's not Peru. Yeah, so we'll be going to Peru. I'll be down there helping film and collect fish with the aquarium co-op and Dean and Randy. That would be and Corey. So it would be a
Little group.
quadrifecta of weirdos filming the Peruvian jungle. And like Fish Tank Barn says, it will be interesting to see the footage when you guys get back. So the Peru trip will be a long period of time filming in the jungle, going up and down the river and stuff. So people that would... So if you guys are expecting videos from me, I will tell you, do not expect videos from me. That is not why I'm going. I'm going to help film for Aquarium Co-op. So if you're looking to see the Peru videos, those will be showing up on the Aquarium Co-op channel. Those will be edited by Jimmy, and it'll be a conglomerate of all of our footage. So you guys will be able to get a really good impression of what we're up to, what we collected, and all that. So when it comes to expectations of me having a Peru video for you guys, tread lightly. So just so you know, like I'm not going to be there specifically filming for my channel. So if I get an opportunity to film specifically for my channel, some content that probably wouldn't go on to Aquarium Co-op, then I will likely take that footage and maybe put it up, edit it and put it up here. But that is not why I'm going. But the funny thing is, I had to move my other filming trip, schedule-wise, that I was filming for my channel. And we've had to move so much stuff around, which is fine. That just is what it is. It doesn't affect you guys at all. Don't stress. But I had to move my filming trip for one of the big videos that I've been working on for a long time for the channel, because Mr. Chips got sick, had to get surgery, and that cost like $9,000, which is an overwhelming amount of money, first of all. But second of all, Mr. Chips is doing good, so it was worth it to do that, as opposed to putting him down. Today is the first day that he had to be a cone head, and Alyssa got to witness that.
I did.
So it is a good thing. He has the dog cone, the cone of shame.
Little lampshade dog.
Yeah. So it's kind of one of those things where you're like, what? So we're going to do that, and then my big filming trip was going to be while I'm gone in Peru. I just found out, like, I don't know, 5-6 days ago, that I was going to be going to Peru, and I leave like next week, so it was very short notice. Scrambling to get everything together, and then I've had to kind of rearrange everything for the filming trip. So I basically land in the States, get COVID tested, drive home. Then I got to get in my car and leave and drive like 300 miles to go meet up with my truck and trailer out in the middle of nowhere. So it's going to be kind of interesting. We'll see how the content continues, but As is right now, like August is just going to be straight up a black hole of me not really being around all that much. So we'll see how it goes. But that's what's happening. I want you guys to know like what's going on. I'll probably make a couple of shorts and get those posted up so people kind of know like, hey, I'm going to be off the radar for a while because I'm be literally where there is no internet service and stuff. So yeah. But we do have a $10 super chat here from Maria. It says, I just found a baby red-eyed tetra in my tank. It's swimming well and is big enough to identify as a red-eyed tetra in my community tank. Can it still be eaten by other fish?
And Mikey basically hit the nail on the head, and he says if it can fit in something's mouth, then yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's one of those things like any fish can become food, a food source for another fish. There are some vegetarian fish. There's not a lot of them, but there are a lot of like plecos and whatnot that are strictly kind of vegetarians.
Sort of.
Like the pacu comes to mind. Like pacu is a vegetarian fish that gets real big.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had a pacu at not at Aquarium Co-op, but a different fish store I worked at a long time ago. We had a giant pacu in like a 200-gallon tank. It was like this, just like a dinner plate. It was huge.
Yeah.
The only thing it had ever eaten was carrots.
Just
That's
carrots?
it. It's the only thing it had ever eaten in its whole entire life.
Was it orange?
No, it was a pacu. It was a fish.
Well, I know, but
Yeah, it's not a mammal. It's not.
I don't know. It was a valid question.
It's not a valid question. I refuse to validate that question. No. Yes, mammals, if you eat tons of carrots, you will turn orange. Yes.
Yes.
It's extremely difficult, though. You have to be juicing. Like, to eat, like, solid carrots, I don't think you're going to get to the orange point.
I just know that a buddy of mine used to, his county used to have, like, carrot eating contests every year.
That's profoundly stupid.
It is. And he said that a couple of times somebody, like the winner, would end up orange later.
Yeah.
For a little while.
Yeah. Humans, if you eat lots and lots of carrots, you will turn orange. So beware.
I assume that like everything that you expel becomes orange, and just like everything is orange for a while.
Yeah, I don't know about the poop factor, but I swear every time you come on the show,
Probably
we're
just end
talking
up-
about poop.
Well,
What's going on?
it's like a thing. Like when we're looking at like
I almost said like, is that our thing? Is that what's going on here? But then I'm like, no.
No. It's like it's just like a fish thing, really. It's like
Right.
how do you diagnose a lot of issues with your fish? You look at their poop.
Right.
It's like
I'm gonna get
that a normal
sunbeams
poop?
on my perineum. Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, as a human, you'll turn orange. I've never seen a fish turn orange.
just from
Because
eating
there's not that
carrots.
many fish that would eat a carrot, right? First and foremost. But no, the pacu was not orange. Didn't turn orange. Wasn't orange. I wish he was orange. That would have been so much cooler because people thought he was a giant piranha because people are dumb. They don't know what they're doing.
They're related in the same way that a lot of tetras are related. But other than that,
I mean, they're far off and they have the shape, but people would always go like, "Oh my God, it's a giant piranha," and it's like,
and they have
well,
those
first
freaky
off,
teeth.
would we have like one giant piranha? Like, why would we have one giant piranha? It's like maybe it ate all the other ones. Like, okay, well, what can I help you with, sir? Do you need help? Do you need help? Yeah.
Right.
So yeah, that fish had only ever eaten carrots. It was pretty exciting. But I guess more to answer the question, any fish, any item that can fit into a fish's mouth will potentially be food. I've given the advice many times that people are like, well, the fish are going to eat my shrimp. And it's like, yeah, the shrimp are generally going to outbreed that depending on the type of fish, though. If you have angelfish, if you have like big angelfish in your tank, they're going to eat anything.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to eat anything around, and I think a lot of people are kind of shocked by that because when you see angelfish, they're just chilling. Like,
I
boop. They're not really doing all that much. But
so
when the lights go out, the angelfish gets busy.
I'll share my horrendous issues with angelfish now. I at one point in time, my first fish breeding experience was with angelfish, and one of the angelfish who I was not breeding was this big, huge, like the body was bigger than my palm, and then the fins were pretty big, male, right? And he, like, I didn't have a female for him, so I just had him in a tank. And at one point in time, I thought, oh, I need more space for some of these baby angelfish, and I stuck them in. Thanks. And I stuck them in the same tank with him. And I woke up in the morning, and every one of the babies that was silver was bit in half and like on the ground in this aquarium, like some sort of macabre glitter. just, and I was like, oh dear goodness. But the dark ones, like the black ones, were fine. I don't know. Anyway, and so then later, I just had him living by himself at that point later on, and I was like, oh, I should put a pleco in with him. And I had this adult male bristlenose pleco, and I stuck him in there with this big jerk who I called King.
Kang the Conqueror?
Just King.
Oh.
King.
I was excited for Kang the Conqueror.
Right. And that does make a lot of sense, but at the time I just called him King.
Yeah.
And
no, Kang.
One day I woke up and I saw that he had plucked the bristles off of this poor bristlenose's face, plucked its eyes out, flipped its over, and ripped out its guts. And of course, the bristlenose was dead, and King was quite full looking too. And I was like, okay, all right. What? I don't know. Angelfish, some of them can live with other fish.
Well, I mean,
some of them are
guess
just murderous jerks.
Well, that's the thing. Well, it's like the moral of the story is that, like,
and they will kill
angelfish
things.
are predators, right? And they will predate on other things because that's what predators do. So yeah, it just really kind of depends on the fish, depends on your aquarium setup, but a general sort of basic rule would be like, if this can fit in a fish's mouth, it could be food. Now, if you have something like a bunch of tetras and you actually have them to have spawned and you have babies growing up, that generally means you probably have areas where the fry can chill until they're big enough to kind of evade being eaten by the adults. And then I think, generally speaking, if you have one species-specific type of fish, they're not going to completely predate and eat the other babies once they start to kind of become identifiable as like, oh, that's the type of fish I am or whatever, right? Like, and obviously I'm ascribing probably too much of a human trait to the fish itself, but in my experience, like, that would be sort of the human way of recognizing like what's happening is that as the fish kind of grow up, it's like, oh, that's like one of the school, you know, and they start to get into the fold, and then they're kind of hanging around with the other fish, and then they are like, oh, we've got backup to eat whatever it is we're gonna get to eat, right? You know, otherwise in nature you would have just only had one group of fish breed once, and then they would just eat them all, and then there would never be fish ever again, right? So it's sort of battle of the fittest, you know, the ones that can kind of swim the best, hide the best, those ones are the ones that'll survive, and then the other ones, when they're kind of janky and little fish fry, they kind of end up being food sometimes, but that's, you know, that's the way that it goes. That's how the system works. You can't have critters having 1,000 babies and then 1,000 of them grow up. It just doesn't work so good. But that's one of the reasons why shrimp have so many babies, is that a lot of them are going to be eaten, right? So that's kind of the thing is that like, people go like, well, you can't put shrimp in a beta tank, right? Because the beta will eat all of the shrimp, right?
Right.
And well, yes, from time to time a beta will predate on a shrimp if it gets the chance. But obviously the shrimp have their evasive maneuvers. They have their swimming kung fu moves that they're able to
Teleportation ability.
yeah, just zip around and get away and stuff. And the beta will get some of them. But typically, if you have healthy breeding shrimp, like they'll outbreed the ability to be eaten because that's kind of their thing in nature. Like that's what they do.
Right. Because if you have shrimp in a situation where they're not being predated on at all, you end up in a situation where you can't even like stick your arm in the tank without getting like coated in shrimp when you pull it back out. It's which sounds like a good problem to have, but there's not that many buyers for shrimp anymore.
No, there's a lot of shrimp. There's a lot of people buying shrimp still. I mean, I don't think we're seeing as much on Craigslist and stuff. But depending on the type of shrimp, and if you're willing to ship, that seems to kind of be the caveat right now. But
Yeah.
stores,
is expensive
I mean, a
right
lot of
now.
stores aren't seeing the volume of people, which we'll get back. I mean, things will get back to normal. The biggest thing I would always like warn people about with breeding like a giant shrimp colony is that oh, your camera's in front of mine. When I went to reframe you, it's like, oh yeah, oh there we go. Okay,
It's the Alyssa show.
yeah, it's a good show. I'm gonna watch it. I'm gonna watch that show. Anyhow, one of the big issues with breeding shrimp colonies and getting your shrimp colony to be really big is that eventually you get to a point where you run into colony collapse. Eventually, there's not enough food. The water will start to imbalance because of an overpopulation of shrimp. You'll get malnourished shrimp because it becomes very difficult to feed them. As you're feeding more, you end up with dirtier water because you have excess waste, and you have kind of weaker shrimp because when you have a big pile of shrimp, they're not all getting to eat very well.
Right.
So you will end up with some weaker shrimp. Weaker shrimp have a tendency to succumb to disease. Once disease gets in the tank, it starts to become a lot of problems. And what generally happens is if you let your shrimp colony get far, far, far too large, you get that colony collapse from a multitude of reasons, and all of a sudden you get a bunch of shrimp dying, and then you get a bunch of shrimp dying, and then you get a bunch of shrimp dying, and it's like it doesn't take that long for it to happen.
Mm-hmm.
It can be one of those things where you like go to bed, get up the next day, and you have a bunch of dead shrimp. Like what happened? So that's kind of one of those things where culling will come into play. That you want to cull some of your shrimp, get them out of there, at least put them into other tanks. If not, pass them on to somebody else. You could sell them. You could feed them to fish if you want, that kind of stuff. But you do want to go through and be selectively culling at times to keep the population in check. And I guess like the easy way to give you some math on it would be like if you have 100 shrimp in a 10-gallon tank, it's time to take some of them out of there. So if you started with 20 and then you had 80 and then the 80 bred and now you've got way over 100, time to start taking some shrimp out because like as they multiply, right? So if you have 20 and 5 of them breed, right? So if you get like 5 females, they throw a bunch of baby shrimp. Those baby shrimp come up. They all breed and like 20 females breed. 20 females are buried. They all have babies. And then the next time it's like now there's 100 that are pregnant, right? It's like it gets really compounding. It gets really compounding with the population growth can really just get exponentially increased at an extreme rate. So it's one of the things that a lot of people unfortunately will encounter once you start breeding shrimp and stuff like that. You'll end up running into that problem at some point in time, and it's just a bummer. It's a huge bummer. So I do try to point that out. It's not as common with fish. Because like we were saying earlier, it's like you do have a chance of predation with pretty much any fish. Once you get enough of them in the tank, eventually some of them are going to start getting eaten. Now, shrimp don't really do that as much. It's not something that they do until a shrimp starts to succumb to dying, and then
Right.
they'll pile on it and eat it, So it's not exactly it's not a one-to-one, basically, would be the easy explanation.
Yeah. What is Wesley talking about? Something about a pleco hopping out of his tank and Bristlenose pleco just climbed out of the tank. What the hell? Seems to show that just because they haven't jumped yet, they will eventually. And now she's on a murdering spree. Interesting. Wesley. Interesting.
Eating some younger plecos.
Interesting.
Yeah, that's a wild situation that you got going on there with that pleco. I mean, I would move it to another tank and start testing the water and find out what's going on there.
Right. Maybe get it some counseling.
Oh, yeah. Needs a psychiatrist. But the times that I've ever seen plecos like going up to the top of the tank, being encouraged to kind of jump out of the tank and stuff like that was chemical related. It happened to be a water change with a high concentration of chlorine from the water plant, treating some bacteria or something that had gotten into the water. And, that's the only time I've really seen that, and or just like crazy nitrate levels, when ammonia is like just through the roof, whatnot. That's the only times I've ever seen that. So it's almost always like a chemical thing with, especially bristlenose. Maybe there's some other plecos that are just like, no, I'll never do that. I'll never do that behavior. But with bristlenose, that's how I've ever seen that happen. You ever got them like jumping out?
Well, I have in the past, and I probably will never do this again. But when I used to have them in those big 75-gallon sea clear aquariums, the acrylic ones with the really big lips on the top.
Mm-hmm.
So it was like a pain in the rear just to catch the dang things. If I knew I was going to be taking some out to sell them, I would put them in these Tupperware containers that like perfectly fit in the openings, and just kind of like have them set in there overnight so that they would stay warm, air circulating. And then I would find, or not air, but water, obviously. And in the morning, I would almost always find that my counts were off. And then I just discovered at some point that what was happening was they were leaping out of the Tupperware and back into the main tank.
Smacking the mic. It's fine.
Yeah, I just, just hitting it. Who needs a nice ring? I could just run it into stuff and knock a microphone over. But yeah, and I don't know. I was always kind of surprised that they could leap out of the water, but apparently they can if they want to, if they're motivated.
It can happen.
Yep, it can happen.
Cherry says, seems counterintuitive, but I added the white clouds to my 29-gallon tank for that exact reason. Population of cherry shrimps was out of control. Yeah, that's the thing. If there's certain things that you can do to mitigate populations of shrimp, but like I said, if you just let them go crazy and breed like crazy, it's unfortunate they're their own enemy. They'll unfortunately outbreed their ability to live within the tank.
Yeah.
By the way, nobody noticed because it was super casual, but the Fish Tank Barn said more gas money for Alyssa. And I did pass that over. If people weren't watching, nobody was watching the video. I think everybody's just listening to audio, but I did pass that over. So thanks, Mike.
It could be.
Yeah, Sharpie's model in aquatics. Oops, I got 300 plus in a 5-gallon. I'm selling them as quick as the local fish store wants them, though. Yeah, what I would do is if I was breeding shrimp in a 5-gallon, a really easy thing to do is to A really easy thing to do would be to get a 5-gallon bucket, and you can just kind of replicate the water parameters over there, right next to it, and just move the fugly shrimp over there, the ugly ones.
Mm-hmm.
Just move the ugly shrimps over to that 5-gallon bucket, and you can just literally go like, these are the ones that are for sale, right?
Yeah.
And if you replicate the water, you can put like an air stone in there, and make sure that it doesn't get super cold or super hot or whatever. But fairly simply, and then you could do something like, well, obviously you're taking them to the local fish store, but maybe the local fish store isn't taking any. You could probably go on Facebook. Well, I guess Facebook you can't sell things anymore, but
Not live things.
yeah, you can't sell living things on Facebook anymore. But you might be able to post a little thing up on Craigslist or whatever is close in that approximation, whatever used car ad place you have on the internet, wherever you're at. Post things like that up. I wouldn't recommend going on like Aquabid for shrimp sales or anything like that, because you're gonna have to deal with the shipping side of stuff. So I would
Unless you're into that.
I would just look around and see if somebody's like relatively local that's kind of interested, wherever you can post up information on who you are. Is just like, I've got extra shrimp, guys. Does anybody want any?
Yeah.
One of the tricks I saw was that somebody put a bucket up for sale with the fish inside of it, and it was just selling the bucket. It was just selling the bucket. Like, hey, I've got this extra bucket. I need $12 for this bucket because I need to buy a tank for this fish to go in. And maybe that would work. I don't know. Not something. Maybe it's not a recommendation. I'm just saying. I saw that.
Right.
Could be a thing. And I also know that there's some other communities now where people are selling stuff, but I'm never really in the market to buy anything, so I can't say I'm really versed on any of that stuff. But I really don't like to. I really don't like to ship stuff. I hate shipping things. It's not something I like doing at all. In fact, I just incredibly dislike it. But if that's something that you're interested to, you could probably find a market there somehow.
Right.
Joel, do you have pea puffers and shrimp together? I don't have any pea puffers, so no. Can pea puffers and shrimplets strike a balance in a large tank with hides, or will the pea puffer likely just manage to find them all? So the interesting thing with pea puffers is that they are sort of, they're one of the like small predatory fish with really no obstruction of them eating a shrimp, right? Because if they can bite a little part of the shrimp, they're going to crunch through it and get that part of it off. But pea puffers are sort of renowned for being in the right place at the right time. Like they're just hovering. You know what I mean? Like they're just hovering, and there's a high likelihood that at some point in time your tank is dark, and they have a real advantage once it's dark, and they're just chilling, and it's like, oh, somebody just landed right next to me. Chomp. You know, so I've always,
aliens.
in my experience, found that the pea puffers will perform in eating a lot better than you would think, just because they're they're a cute little guy. It's like it's the only job they have is biting things with their little tiny beak, and
Right.
so generally speaking, I don't recommend pea puffers for that. I like to keep them in pseudo isolation, just heavy planted tank, and go that route. It has worked out much better for me in the past than having them with anything else. Because if there's a fish that's just like swimming by, you get little bite marks out of it, little beak marks out of whatever fish that's near it, you know. So I just don't recommend pea puffers for that. But I also don't recommend, I honestly don't recommend pea puffers like all that much at all anyhow.
They're super cute,
They're definitely cute, so you
but
definitely have that aspect.
I don't know.
Hold on, my eyes are bugging me today. I don't know what's going on.
Pollen, maybe?
I'm gonna rub my eyes.
Okay. I've only ever kept one pea puffer once, and I don't know, it was like gotta be 13 years ago, and it ate snails. It did okay. And then one day it was gone.
Right.
That's all.
It just disappeared one day.
It was just vanished.
It was there and then it was gone.
Yep.
Yeah, and then no more pea puffer.
Yep. It was just by itself. Well, with snails.
Right.
And that was it.
I almost hold on. What's the para? Yeah, the This may sound weird. This may sound weird to y'all, but the fish that I recommend instead of a pea puffer is the paradise fish. This guy, and I can never remember this one. I can never remember how to say copy. I'll throw it into the chat. Oh my god, the alarm's going off.
Uh-oh.
That's to remind me that my travel nurse is going to call during the show at some point. We're supposed to call at 1:30, so I'm going to leave you here with Alyssa while I talk to the nurse.
Ah, yes.
If they call on time, which they never do. So, we'll see.
Macropodus opercularis?
Yeah, so it's commonly referred to as the paradise fish, but it's Macropodus opercularis. I don't know how to say that one. I don't think I've ever heard it out loud. But anyhow, regardless, in the United States, we call them the paradise fish. There's the Latin name. I would recommend a paradise fish over a pea puffer. They have a lot of personality. They're like a little... They sort of have what would resemble like little puppy dog character traits. You know what I mean? They come up, oh, hey, what are you doing? They're a labyrinth gill fish, very easy to take care of. You don't need a giant tank for them. You know, basically, if you had like a 15-gallon tank or something like that for a pea puffer, it'll work great for a paradise fish because they're a labyrinth gill. They don't need a ton of swimming space. They like to swim around, but they don't need like a ton of aggressive swimming space. But definitely one of my favorite fish. Definitely underrepresented in the hobby. You just don't see them that often. You don't see them that often, like on YouTube and stuff like that, right? Like, there's not a lot of people like posting up videos of them and stuff like that. But a very cool fish. They're in the gourami family. That, you know, like I said, it's the basic same tank setup for a pea puffer, but I think most people have a much better engagement with that fish versus a pea puffer. I think. You know, they're easier to feed.
Aren't they like a cooler water fish? Like a room temperature fish as opposed to like
room temperature. I don't
degrees?
think you want like super cooking water, but
Yeah.
I don't know. Let's ask
Dr.
the internet.
Google MD.
Yeah, Dr. Google. Dr. Googler. This one doesn't have temperature parameters ish. But yeah, they're from Vietnam, so you can definitely be warm.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I don't want to join your fish keeping community.
Are you sure you don't want emails all the time?
What's 28 Celsius? Let's look that up. Search Google for 28. What?
81 degrees?
There's a yeah, 82. Yeah, so it's warmer. That's right. But you know, I've had them without heaters and stuff like that, just the room temperature. But you know, that's right. They're from Vietnam, so they're gonna want to be a little bit warmer, if at all possible. But I've generally not really had a big issue with them just being room temp, 70 degrees. That kind of tank. And you know, I had one for like, I don't know, 3 or 4 years, which was a really cool fish, and I just haven't gotten one since then. Yeah. Not an American flag fish, but the actual flag.
Yeah, they're talking about how paradise fish look.
That's right. They look like the flag. They're stripy.
Sharpie's Models and Aquatics says, if I get a pea puffer, I could feed it cull shrimp. Yes, you could. Mm-hmm.
I suppose that you could. I think one of the issues is, like, I think if you were trying to feed shrimp to a pea puffer, I feel like that'd be an incredibly big pain in the butt. I think realistically.
Why?
Because the action of trying to feed a pea puffer is A, already a pain, and then B, like trying to get it to eat the shrimp that you're putting in there. Right? Because you're not just going to put like 100 shrimp in there and be like, I'll figure it out.
Oh, that's what I would do.
Oh. Well, the problem is that they'll probably just eat all of the shrimp until...
Right.
Because one of the things with puffers is that they have a personality trait of attacking anything that's around, regardless of whether they're even going to eat it or not. So it's like how puffers will go through like a giant snail population is that they'll like bite the foot of the snail off.
Oh.
Right?
And
they'll just leave the rest laying on the ground.
Gotcha.
So, like, if there's a crazy abundance of snails, like they'll just bite the foot off and then swim away if they're not that hungry. Like they won't take the time to like bite up the shell and stuff like that because it's a big pain for them, I would assume. But yeah, that's the thing. It's like puffers will just kind of annihilate stuff that's around because they're just like irritated by it, you know. I don't have a better way to put it, but like that's what they do. I mean, yeah. So they do the same thing with shrimp. Like if you were trying to count on a puffer to keep the colony down, I think they'll go past how many shrimp you want it to eat. Is basically a way to put it. Yeah. Because if I put 100 100 snails in with my puffer fish, like they'll all be gone by tomorrow. But I have them in a giant tank now, so if I can disperse the snails around,
at least it gives them something to do.
Some will survive for a while. But the thing is, like the puffer fish will go on a rampage of just like any snail that they see, they'll just bite their foot. And the snails don't recover from that. Like they just die off. Like they just die. So,
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I feed my cull shrimp to my Chenodis bettas. It also gives them something to do.
Chasing shrimps around.
Yeah. So they'll be like, I'm gonna get ya. And then the shrimp will be like, nope. And I'm always surprised when I see shrimp that have been in there for like weeks. I'm like, bro.
Those are the good shrimp. You should take them back out.
Well, yeah. I don't know. I figure they're going to start up a shrimp ninja school. And
it's a lot of building and construction.
I know.
Hiring teachers. I mean, come on.
They'll figure it out eventually.
We'll get there.
Chirish asked earlier, was it Chirish? Let me check. How am I, meaning me, planning on filtering my shiny new tub? So, Chirish has a green name because Chirish is on our part of the YouTube channel and is on the Discord and has seen that I have a 50-gallon Rubbermaid tote. It's big and it's wide and shallow. I traded some shrimp for it. That's another way to cull shrimp, by the way. And and it's been soaking in my yard with a whole bunch of white vinegar now for a while, just to try to eat away the calcium deposits, because it used to be used as a what do they call them, a coral grow out, and that's awesome and all. That's not what I do. So it's almost dissolved. My plan for that, because it doesn't have straight sides, is to just get like a power head and stick it onto the top of a sponge filter, which is a thing that I always used to do and works just fine. And just run it so that it gets some flow, and then just run regular sponge filters with air like elsewhere in the tub. And that is how I will be filtering that whole tank situation.
Oops. There we go. There's your tub.
Yep.
It's a Rubbermaid tub.
Heck yeah.
Rubbermaid tub. It looks like all the other Rubbermaid tubs. Right?
Yes, except for that particular photo, it was all disgusting because I had filled it with some waste, water from the waste bucket, and then I just was scrubbing into it. I didn't want to waste good water on it.
See, that's straight off the zip cord. Off the zip cord. I was reading Zipgun was here. It's straight off the Discord. And people wonder what the Discord's all about. Well, that's straight off of the Project Corner.
Mm-hmm.
The Project Corner part of the Discord. And I think people are confused about what the Discord is. It's a separate app it's like chat rooms. It's like a whole bunch of chat rooms that's just people that are members and patrons of my YouTube channel. There's a whole bunch of different areas things that you could talk about. You can post all sorts of stuff, like pictures of your new projects and things. Chirish has picked it up also, posting things in there and whatnot. And I don't know. I could recommend it or I could not recommend it. And I feel like recommending it's the right thing to do. So we're going to recommend it. Chirish is working on some cool projects that you would be able to check out if you were on there.
Heck yeah.
Yeah.
He's got this whole, hydroponic, aquaponic situation going on.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Kind of makes me want to just go and look at it with my eyes in person. But it's not the way the world is right now.
Well, people have a tendency to live far away also.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's a difficult thing
It's
to deal with.
What? Wesley lives far, far away, too.
Yeah, probably like 9,000 miles away. I don't know.
Something like that.
Something like that.
I think he's 9 time zones away.
Distance. Let's see. Oh, no. 9,000 kilometers.
Oh.
4,882 miles as the crow flies. Even on an airplane, I can tell you from personal experience, it takes a long time.
Yeah, that
Takes
would
a
be
long time to get there.
Long trip.
It takes a while. Ow, my side hurts. It takes a long while to get to the Netherlands. Is that exciting information for people? Probably not. But it is what it is. Let's see.
It's always good to know.
It's always good to know.
It's
always
you can't
good to
just
know.
drive there from here.
Yeah, you can't just drive there. There's water in the way.
Yep.
There's no ice bridge. There's no ice wall. It's nothing. You
Nope.
have to fly in an airplane. It's the best way to go. But it still takes a long time. Well,
Nope.
it seems like a long time.
Even if you tried to drive over the ice in the Arctic during the winter, it still probably wouldn't work.
Right. I think going to Peru here, I think it's 38 hours of travel or something like that.
Oh, goodness.
Yeah, it's a long time.
Yeah.
It's one of the best ways to achieve maximum water surface area. I'm confused by that. Was he talking about the bog filter? I don't know.
know.
Confused. Looks like a lot of people left. Why did you all leave? I don't know.
Aw.
Bunch of people left. I don't know why. And lunch break's probably over. Pacu like to eat walnuts, hence their name of the ball cutter fish. That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Don't hang your
Don't hang your walnuts
don't
in the
hang
water.
your walnuts in the water. They might get snipped up.
Yeah.
But to the chat today, the first ones to the chat today, I forgot to give a shout out, was Chirish, Mikey Fishy, Zombie Drummer, Frank Dominguez, and Paula Kreinberg. Kreinberg or Kreinberg? Who knows? World famous Simply Beta is in the chat saying patrons are the best.
Yeah.
Are they the best? It's debatable.
'Cause they're the best around.
No one's ever gonna keep you down. Yeah. Is that your jam? Are you coming out of the 80s?
Yes.
I wish
It's your fault.
I wish I could play that song. Otherwise, I would probably get a copyright strike.
DMCA'd.
DMCA. That's right.
I was going to say demonetized, but no.
Not demonetized.
No, it's even worse.
DMCA. It's even worse. You can't have those. Let's see. What do we have here? Let's go to our music file. Let's see what we got. Intro songs. What do we got? I downloaded a few today, but they're probably going to be like way too loud. They always are.
They usually are. There's a lot of people who focus on the
Let's see
music
what we
and
got.
not on the talking.
Oh, God. It's probably going to play off the player.
Oh.
Where did it go? Oh, yeah. That's the wrong one. Okay. What we want to do is we want to click this button. We want to go add source, media files, right? Then we got to go back and then over here to this. Then we got to go to this. Then we got to go. Let's see. What's today's date, guys? Oh, I didn't download anything today in there. Where did I put that? Playlists? Oh my God, where's the date? There's no way.
It's the 30th
Date created. There we go.
of July.
I'm talking about in the file.
Oh.
Talking about in the file. The file's in the computer is what I'm talking
okay.
about. You know that the files are in the computer.
Okay.
Date created.
In the computer.
Here we go. Here we go. Let's try this.
It was very loud. Oh man, you know what I did the other day?
What?
Was I was sitting in front of my tanks like I do because I don't know, TV's dumb, and I managed to actually get footage of the entire breeding process of my Rio Ucayali bristle noses.
You're trying to what?
I got the 50-minute breeding process of my Rio Ucayali bristle noses, which is, I don't know, it was a long time. And I talked over the whole thing too. And you hear all the like crap in the background because it's my fish room with all the bubblers going and everything. It was really super professional.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really crazy. So if for some reason people want to see fish fornication,
Somebody wants to see fish fornication? Who said that?
if somebody wants to see that, they should
Oh.
go over to my channel.
Oh. Where's Alyssa's channel? Let's find your channel.
Okay.
What did you name it? Is it your name?
It's my name. But I think we've done this before, and that person is not me.
That's not you. That's somebody else.
Yeah.
There
That's
it
me.
is. Yours is the one that's the cat.
Yeah, I know.
This is from 2 years ago. Let's go back. Videos.
Today's. Or the other
There we
days.
go. Oh my God, it's 48 minutes long.
I know, right? It's ridiculous. Anybody wanted to try to see some flirting.
Okay. Well, we'll go like this. We'll go share. And we go copy the link. And we post it in the chat. Brrr, boink. Brian Waite said, I guess it's too much. And he's going to leave now. Okay.
What's too much?
I don't know. Guess it's too much. I don't know. Currently trying to get all MC tropical fish for my massive aquascape. Is that too much? I don't know what all MC tropical fish means. I don't know what that means. So, I don't know. Joel G. Says, hello, I'm lying down on the couch. Nice.
Sweet.
Nice.
That sounds great.
Could go for that.
Yeah.
I need to get a new tote. Mine has a crack in it. It was not a stock tank, just a storage bin. Maybe I'll hit up the feed store tonight from Natural Aquariums. Ooh, that's a good point. The feed store is generally a great place to go for fish tubs and stuff like that. They're
Mhm.
normally like feed troughs and stuff, but if you can find like a Tractor Supply or something like that, it's a good place to go for those big totes if you're looking for those. That's where you can get them new.
They probably won't accept shrimp in payment though.
They won't accept shrimp. They won't accept shrimp in payment. That's true.
They'll
They
be
only
like,
want money.
"Wait, why?"
I had to go by the Bass Pro Shops a while ago. And somebody was in there blowing a turkey gobbler
Oh,
like
one of
crazy.
the
Like
Yeah.
crazy.
was it a kid?
I don't know.
Oh,
The store's big. And it was coming from, I couldn't see who was doing it, but somebody was doing it like crazy. There could have been a whole choir of them doing it back there. I don't know, but it was going wild.
oh, Ryan's MC is Minecraft.
Oh, trying to get all Minecraft tropical fish for my massive aquascape.
You totally should.
You totally should. You can get fish in a bucket. That's not a problem.
Yeah, you just friggin' fill up your whole inventory with just buckets and just go out there and swim after them and grab them.
Get all the colors.
Yeah.
From what I understand in Minecraft, there's 1,000 or so different color combinations for the tropical fish.
Ooh, you could set up. You could do like an all orange tank and an all yellow tank, etc.
That'd be a way to do it. That's what I would do.
Mm-hmm.
If you got a copyright claim against some early hip hop, would it be a Run DMCA? I think so.
Maybe.
True, but I think that guy died. Didn't one of them die?
I don't know.
Run DMC members died. One of them died. Mixmaster J or Jam Master J
Oh, Jam Master.
was killed in his studio in Queens nearly 20 years ago. Yeah, Jam Master J was dead. And maybe the other two guys are still alive. Let's see. Oh, maybe that's the news. Two people were arrested. Two charged in the 2002 murder of Run DMC's Jam Master Jay. Two people have been charged with the murder, according to an indictment unsealed Monday, bringing closure to a case that has remained unsolved for years. Yeah, this was just last year in 2020. But he was murdered in 2002.
That's sad.
Huh. Oh, to read the full story, I have to pay and become a member on the news site, which is weird. Does anybody notice that that's weird? It's weird.
And it's always like a lot of money.
Yeah, it'll be like $8.99 a month or something crazy.
Right.
You're like, I have zero interaction with this. I just get to read some articles from the newspaper. Like, it's not interactive.
Right.
I feel like if you become a member on the channel, like I feel like we have a lot of benefits that are worth $5 a month, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I do all the live streams.
You get pictures of my cat
I
sometimes.
make content. I mean, I know it's been a while since I've posted an actual video of content, but I have at least 500 videos you could go watch right now.
Yeah.
We have the Discord where we chat on a regular basis. We have a Minecraft server where you can play Minecraft on it.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like you're getting a lot for $5 a month, right?
Yeah, it's pretty good.
I feel like that's a lot. I mean, it could be more, but we don't have enough members to like hire any staff. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I already gave all the super chats to Alyssa today, so there's that.
Yep. Right here in a pile under my rocks that I brought in for some reason. 'Cause I'm a
Apparently,
weird
Alyssa
person.
had rocks in her pockets.
I did. I didn't have snails, but I did have rocks.
My 2-year-old daughter does that. She brings rocks in with her.
Well, your 2-year-old daughter has excellent taste.
She is too. So yeah.
And yeah, Ryan, I just definitely go and collect all the fish. All of them. Just all. Dude, multiple tank syndrome has nothing on you now, man. You are free. You should totally do that. You should just huge tank. Or
What's free? What are you talking about?
Ryan Waney with his tropical fish, 1,000+ tropical fish.
Oh
in
yeah, it better
Minecraft.
be a big tank.
Yeah, man. I mean, I guess they could all just be crowded in there. Oh, I feel like they might despawn themselves if there's too many in one.
My giant hole in the ground will eventually be a fish tank.
That's awesome. I did notice that it had been.
Don't fall in my hole in the ground. You'll fall all the way to bedrock and die.
That thing, every time I fly over it, it looks like, the world is glitched out.
Mhm.
I'm like, what?
But if you go down there, you find out there's skeleton horses.
Yeah. I like skeleton horses. I think they're neat.
Every once in a while on our server, there's lightning, and a skeleton horse or 8 will spawn.
Mm-hmm.
And some of them followed me down in the hole as I kept digging the hole. They just kept being in the hole. And the hole just kept getting deeper and deeper, and then they couldn't get out.
Huh.
Although I did find out something funny. Skeleton horses will climb to the highest point that they can get to, the highest accessible point.
Oh.
They go up like mountain goats.
Oh, interesting.
They have mountain goat
Instincts.
type instincts. Yeah. One thing I didn't realize is that they can breed.
I didn't know that.
I didn't know that either. They can breed
That
little
must
baby
be new.
ones. Hmm?
How did they just do it on their own or what?
Yeah, there's just more in there.
That's so weird. Yeah, well, yeah. 'Cause
And
I
there
went
was
in
there was little baby ones running around.
Yeah.
I don't know what you give them to make them breed, but every once in a while they breed. I don't know what's going on.
I don't know. That's super weird.
You figure you give them like skeleton bones or something? I don't know.
Here's some more bones.
Here's some more bones. Make some more skeleton horses. You guys are magic, I guess, right?
Bone blocks.
Yeah. And we seem to have silenced the chat. Everyone just got totally tired of our nonsense.
Oh.
Ace Hardware has the cheapest new Rubbermaid totes if you order online and ship to store. Ooh, that's a good tip. Yeah, a lot of hardware stores and things like that will order those things in for sure, and then they can ship to store is so much cheaper with big bulky items like that. And a big part of that has to do with the shipping rates to commercial addresses. If you guys don't know about that, the shipping rates to commercial addresses are much lower than they are to residential.
Yeah.
There's a multitude of reasons that I don't really feel like getting into today, but that's just know that. If you have a friend with a commercial business or something like that, you can always ship stuff there cheaper. But stores will generally ship to store because they're just going to include it on whatever it is that they're shipping around. All right, you guys have to deal with Alyssa for a little while. I got to talk to my nurse.
Okay.
Hello. Yep. This is.
All right. We're just going to let him exit so he can have his important conversation. And then it's just you and me. All you guys and me. All right. So, the worst thing to happen to me today was I woke up and one of my plecos was dead. And part of the reason why I am getting that big 50-gallon Rubbermaid tote ready is so that I can move a bunch of baby plecos into that so that they're not producing a bunch of waste in this small 20-gallon tank that I'm using to breed plecos. Luckily, I have another male that can replace the one that died, but it was still very disheartening, and it sucked, quite frankly. I was very upset. We buried him in the strawberry garden, and I don't know. It happens to everybody. Even doing like a 25 to 50% water change every day on that tank, I wasn't able to keep the water parameters in check. And here's what's different about that tank versus every other tank that I have. Most of my tanks are overpopulated, but they're all of them are planted heavily. This particular one was not. And the reason why was I wanted to be able to watch everything. And I also just didn't have a plug for a light right there. I just didn't have one. I wanted a heater and not a plug, and not a light. And yeah, and so without plants, I couldn't keep the water parameters correct in that tank with that level of fish load. And so we had a fish that was just not doing well, even with constant water changes and just, maintaining the filter and everything. I had a sponge filter and an AquaClear 70 on it, which is, by all intents and purposes, way over filtered for a 20-gallon tank, but it was still, I still lost a fish. The rest of the fish in there seem to be doing all right, and it's weird because, my setup is that I put my trash water essentially into a big 35-gallon trash bucket, and then I have this big sump pump, and it pumps the water out to the garden. Fine. And there are plecos out there. I don't know how they got past me. They got into the buckets, they got out there, and they living out there just fine in the trash can. So we've just got a freaking trash fish. But this one fish just did not like being in that tank. Anyway. So, but I'll post an update on that tub when I get back. I've got a whole bunch of vinegar eating up the calcium solids that were in it, and it was pretty close to done this morning, the dissolving. I'm just gonna do a final rinse and a little scrub, and then start bringing it downstairs when I get back home after this. And we should be okay. Start setting things up, start getting it cycled or whatever. Anyway, updates on my fish room move and build. Steve. So all my fish are in the basement of my new house. I don't have them in 2 locations anymore, so that's good. Right now, what we're doing is we're waiting for there's a carrier beam down the center of my house that we just bought that is broken in half, basically. And the place that it's broken is right at the corner of where the fish room would be. And so, and the problem with that is that it becomes an issue if there is a earthquake. If there's an earthquake, it's an issue. If it sinks further or breaks further, if it starts going like this, that's an issue too, because it means bad things, because it's holding up the whole house, right? And it's right in the center of the whole building. And so we've got a structural engineer who is working on plans for what to do so that the contractor can come and help make the house not fall down. Right now we're kind of going in between 2 options. One is to get a bunch of joist jack beams and lift all the joists and lift out the broken beam and then replace it with a steel I-beam. That would be the smartest option, but also would probably cost $100,000 to do. And we literally just bought the house, so we're a little strapped. The other option would be to build a load-bearing wall underneath the existing beam and support everything. And the problem is that the HVAC is built and drilled through that carrier beam as well. So, because it's 100+ year old house, it's crazy. And no, they did not sell the house because of it. It has been an issue that's been there since probably, I would say, the 50s, and has been covered up by ancient wallboard since that time. So yeah, it's insane. We're just trying to deal with that so that we can get to the point of actually putting up the electric, and then the insulation, and then the drywall, and or the green board drywall, and etc., 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 moving the tanks into that space, so that they're not just all over the basement anymore. It's a little frustrating, as you can probably tell by my slightly frustrated tone, but we're working on it. There is a plan. It's just we're waiting on other people. So whenever you have to wait on somebody else to do something, it makes a project take a whole lot longer. And that's just the way that it is. That's the way life is. Yep. Let's see. Giant fish sculpture wedged under the broken beam is my vote. Well, Zip Gun, are you a sculptor? Yeah. So right now, yeah, we're just waiting. Does anybody have any, I don't know, fish questions? I don't know how long his phone call's gonna be. I'm looking at y'all's fish questions here, so I'll wait, because obviously I know there's a delay. I did get, so I'd been told that green phantoms, the L200, not the L200A, are fairly gregarious, which honestly seems to be the answer to most plecos. And want to be in groups, like large groups of each other. And so right now I have 5 of them in a tank. And I'm just kind of slowly letting them grow up, because, they don't grow that fast. They're L number plecos. And we'll see. I kind of think it'd be cute to have baby green phantoms just kind of munching around. That'd be cool. That's probably what I'll do with my other 75-gallon tank eventually. Let's see. Any suggestions? Okay, Michael Sarr says, any suggestions for my 55 on the back porch for shrimp? It's just a bare bottom with a matin. Any suggestions? We'll probably need to hold a lot of shrimp. I mean, honestly, if you're just trying to grow some shrimp, I would, not knowing your water, if you have soft water, what I would do is I would get some oregonite and just like put this much. It's like, what, 3 cups worth of oregonite in your 55, and just put it in the substrate, even though I know it's a bare bottom. And then the rest of it, just kind of fill it up with guppy grass, and then just let your shrimp hang out in there. Let's see. Do you ever experiment in your breeding, like mess with temperature, turbidity, pH turbidity. I'm not sure what turbidity means. Temperatures? Yes. I've found that if I drop temperatures down to like sub 70 degrees, so like 68 or so, they'll stop breeding. That is way too cold for them. They'll usually survive just fine as long as the water is clean. But as far as bristlenoses anyway, I'm not going to say for other more expensive plecos, but yeah. But that is one way to get them to stop breeding if you really want that. It's not the best for them, and if something goes wrong, they will just die. But yeah. Turbidity. I'm going to look that up real quick. 1 second. What does that mean? Turbid definition. The quality of being cloudy, opaque, or thick with suspended matter. Okay, interesting. As far as turbidity, like they'll do fine with like green water. They'll do fine with tea colored water. They don't seem to like like fluorite red sand. If you try to use that as its own substrate on its own, and you pour it in, and then you pour the water in, and then you've just got like a tank full of mud. They don't seem to like that too much. I haven't been able to get plecos to breed that have been in that situation in the past, or at least at all, really. I'm not sure why specifically. Like, even if I've managed to clear up that rock in the water, suspended particles of rocks and sand, maybe they eat too much of it. Maybe it damages their gills and it makes them less healthy. I don't know. So I guess it depends on what is in the water. Also, like if it's a bunch of like ammonia or stuff, that will kill them. You can tell that it's bad because they'll be up at the surface. They'll do the same thing as Corey's doing, just like swim up and grab a gulp of water and come back down. Yeah. Let's see. How did I get the bristlenose Rio Ucayali ready to spawn? Steve, I fed them a lot. They need to be in warm water, like 76 to 82, and be fed regularly, at least every other day. Like, drop in bricks of rapashi. They don't seem to like vegetables as much as they like rapashi. They seem more protein desirous rather than just vegetable. Like if they're starving, they'll eat vegetables, but they have to be literally starving. Like they want to be big chonker fat things rolling around in the tank. And it's crazy. Let's see, where are we at? Cat safe pothos alternative suggestions. Zipgun, try sweet potato. People have been sticking like the end of a sweet potato into a tank, and it'll put roots down, and then it'll grow out, and then it works pretty well. And it's not toxic, really. You definitely don't want to use pothos with cats. Let's see. Michael, as far as just keeping the shrimp healthy and alive, yeah, just just put a whole bunch of guppy grass in there with your shrimp and the oregonite or crushed coral, I guess, depending upon where the coral is from. I just happen to like oregonite. I don't know why. I don't know. Chirish, I wouldn't use peace lily. Peace lily will also kill cats. Sci-fi swordsman, have you known bristlenoses to eat their own hatched fry? Not that I know of, especially. Although I have wondered what happened. I did have some times when like the male was sitting on the eggs and I was expecting fry to be out, and then I only ever saw like a couple fry and not like a huge cloud of fry, and didn't really know why, which is suspicious. And so it's possible. It's very possible. It's also possible that if they ate the fry, that the fry were not going to make it anyway. It's also possible that they were just freaking starving. So feed your plecos. Feed your plecos. They're hungry all of the time. Like all the time. Let's see. Yeah. Let's see. What else do we got? Oh, Steve Bertich. They gotta be big enough to breed. The real Ucayali bristlenoses, like they gotta be big enough. If they're not, I mean, give them a little bit more time than you would a standard bristlenose. Mine took like a year and a half before they were ready to start breeding. So, and I think because you got them from me and they were probably smaller. So, and that would have been what, during the pandemic in 2020 in the winter. So probably less than a year ago. So give them some time. If they're not breeding yet, just give them time. Just know that like an adult's gonna be like, what is this, like 7, 8 inches, and like the male will have so like huge bristles, just like you'll wonder how they can even see. And the females also will have bristles, and yeah, so yeah. Let's see. Hornwort for cats. I mean, yeah, Brie, I think the point of the, let's see. Yes. So I think we're trying to solve the, what are we doing here? Zip gun situation. If you're just trying to get plants to grow up and out of the water, you can also try some aquarium plants will just grow up and out of the water too. So if you can find like a Persicaria species, or what was it? Hygrophila green olive, I found at one point, will grow up and out. Wisteria, water wisteria, will grow up and out of the water. Hornwort needs to be in the water, I think. Yeah, what else have I grown up and out? There's like I think it's a Ludwigia super red. something or another that I've grown where it was like in the root, in the substrate, and then it grew up, and then it just kind of like came up and out of the water. And that's pretty cool. I still have like one piece of it, thankfully. It almost all died due to neglect after the move. But yeah, it just needs to be like with wet, something in that plant needs to be wet or it will not flourish. But it grows great in the window and it looks fantastic. Bacopa will indeed. Bacopa will flower outside of the water. It'll grow up. Also any of the like water lettuces and that kind of thing. Yeah, there's a lot of options actually. A lot of options for plants. Lucky bamboo is a great option for growing up and out of the water, as long as the leaves are out of the water. I have made like hanging baskets for them on the back of the tank, because like, you know how those Petco tanks have, if you get the glass lids, they've got that plastic strip on the back. If you just like pry that off, and then you can make a little basket that sits there and put out of I make it out of that plastic needle point what is it, that plastic craft stuff. If you go to like the Michaels or whatever, the Joanne Fabrics, and be like, hey, what's that stuff that you make like yarn pictures out of, plastic mesh stuff, they'll know what you're talking about. The nice ladies there will tell you, or gentlemen, or non-binaries, whatever. And yeah, so you can make like a little basket out of it if you're a little creative with a needle and some, you know, plastic twine, and put in some like aquarium gravel around the roots of the small lucky bamboo, and just kind of like plant yourself up a little forest, and it'll grow the roots out through there into the water, and it'll grow up and out. It'll be nice and healthy and lovely. It's also a really great way for like if you have lucky bamboo in like a vase or something, and it's got the pieces growing all over the place. If you get a fresh razor and you slice some of those off near the node, you can take that and put it in. You put it in that basket, and then it'll just grow straight up out of there. It's a pretty good place to root things. Yeah. Let's see. Oh, what do we do? Now what are we doing? Richard McCarthy talking about how selling plants in Vancouver, aquarium plants, being like a pawn drug dealer. You know how many like random parking lots I've met up with people in, and just tried to make an illicit sale of some like shrimp or something, and then they're like, and here's the cash, and I'm like, and here's the thing, and then it definitely feels like you're, and I always kind of wonder like, oh, what would the cops think, you know? In fact, one time I was in a parking lot, and we did the thing where our cars parked next to each other, so we just passed through the windows, but then we were sitting there and chatting, and some bro in a giant truck came and like parked like in front of us with his truck lights like shining brightly on us as we're sitting there chatting, And I'm just like, what is going on? Like, why is this guy not turning his truck lights off? You know, like, I don't understand. And then I realized, oh, he thinks we're doing a drug deal. In this grocery store parking lot. And and I was like, oh man, this guy thinks he's so clever. Busting these. It was me and this like young lady. We're trading. I think I was buying some Hercules snails from this lady, and she just I don't know, it was just like the craziest thing. Yeah. So, and now I have a tale forever of the time that some bro, I assume bro because it's usually bros and giant trucks around here, decided to park and blind me with his high beams in his giant truck because he thought that I was having a drug deal because I was sitting there and having a chat with somebody about fish stuff in a parking lot. Oh man, memories. All right, did I lose chat? I think I lost chat. Sell some mollies. Oh, Zipgun, I would have to buy some mollies. I've actually never kept mollies. And I don't have any real desire to, aside from the fact that they do kind of look cool, like the wild ones. And like if you keep them in a big enough tank, they get really big apparently. Well, big for me. Like most of my fish are like teeny tiny. Yep. Yep. So that's it. Stories from my life. Stories from white suburbia. Oh, Chirish, I know. Zipgun, if I wanted mollies, I could totally trade some shrimp for mollies. I just really don't. I mean, realistically, I'm pretty. I don't know. I'm pretty single-minded about the things that I want to keep. In general, I like keeping and breeding plecos, and I will keep fish that will go along well with plecos, or shrimp, other inverts, other critters. I don't particularly care to keep things that will eat my plecos, or damage them. It's kind of distressing if they damage each other, because they will do that. Yeah. What larger cichlids have you kept? Steve, I've basically kept angelfish, which, I mentioned that whole story. And then for a little while, I had a green severum until I looked up how big those things get, and then I got rid of him because it's like, no. I think I got him with a tank, like a 30-gallon tank. I was like, this fish can't live in this tank. This fish needs a really, really big tank. And I was in like a 9th floor apartment or something like that. There's no way I could have a really, really big tank up there. No, that's crazy. Yeah, and that's it. That's it, Steve. That's all I got. I've never kept Africans. I've never had a desire to. I think the biggest fish in my house right now would be kind of a toss-up between Lenny, my big Rio Ucayali, who is this big and like chonky, or that might be an overestimate. He might be more like, I don't know, this big. Or Gene, the big Ryukin goldfish who kind of is the size of a softball.
Hey, I have to schedule all these like vaccines for the poisons.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Yeah, get up with the autisms.
Yeah. I'll put you. Should we go on intermission?
Oh, I don't know. Sure.
Okay, we're going on.
I deleted all the pictures of you I had on my Instagram. You can't see it in my dreams, I hold you close just like I wish I can. It's late at night, I know you're gone, and I can't sleep cause you moved on. I wish I tried, but you're with someone else tonight. Oh, why do we end up broken hearted? Oh, running right back to where we started. Tried to make it all okay, but the end is still the same. Oh, why do we end up broken hearted? What's that show we watched together? I can just remember you and me. Flipping channels, but my mind is watching slideshows of our memories. It's late at night, I know you're gone, and I can't sleep cause you moved on. I wish we tried, cause maybe you'd be here tonight. Oh, why do we end up broken hearted? Oh, running right back to where we started. Tried to make it all I deleted all the pictures of you I had on my Instagram. You can't see it in my dreams, I hold you close just like I wish I can. It's late at night, I know you're gone, and I can't sleep cause you moved on. I wish I tried, but you're with someone else tonight. Oh, why do we end up broken hearted? Oh, running right back to where we started. Tried to make it all okay, but the end is still the same. Oh, why do we end up broken hearted? What's that show we watched together? I can just remember you and me. Flipping channels, but my mind is watching slideshows of our memories. It's late at night, I know you're gone, and I can't sleep cause you moved on. I wish we tried, cause maybe you'd be here tonight. Oh, why do we end up broken hearted? Oh, running right back to where we started. Tried to make it all okay, but the end is still the same. Oh, why do we end up broken hearted?
What's up, Internet? We're back. We're coming back. We're back with Alyssa. She's leaning. She's got a mean lean. She's leaning over. She's relaxing. We're having to listen to the jazz music of being on hold with the medical people.
Was chilling out, Max, and relaxing, all cool.
So it turns out I have to get lots of vaccinations. So we instead of having a basic phone call where I was like, let's get malaria meds and some diarrhea medication, they were like, no, you need a bunch of other vaccinations before you go. Mm-hmm. So I am not 100% sure because that's not the report I got from all the other people that are going on the trip, but I'm going to err on the side of medical professionals generally having a pretty good representation of what's going on instead of random people saying, like, nah, it's fine.
Well, but they already got theirs.
Who?
The Dean and Corey and Randy got theirs before.
When?
Last time they were going to Peru.
They got vaccinations last time?
Yeah.
Did they?
Yeah.
How do you know?
Because they said that?
Oh, they said that?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
They said it out loud with their mouths.
When?
On some live stream or something.
Sounds like you're making up a story. Can I trust you?
I don't know. Can you trust anybody, really?
Who knows? But either way, sorry about that big, long break. We had to do that. Alyssa took over the show for a little bit because I was unsure if they were actually going to call at the time that they said that they were going to call. And then we were on hold for an eternity trying to... Sorry, my apologies. But...
It happens.
It happens. What were you guys talking about? As we go through the chat here, there's no new members today. We didn't have any new members today. We did get some super chats. I gave those all to Alyssa for gas. So there we go. They had a stream about it. It says Chirish. Oh, okay. Maybe they did have a stream about it.
Well, okay, now you take Chirish's word for it. No.
I do.
Thank you for corroborating with me, Chirish.
I do take Chirish's word for it. So yeah, I'm gonna get a bunch of vaccines right before I get on an airplane. So I can't imagine that's gonna be feeling very good.
No. Probably not.
I don't know. It's gonna be a little bit harebrained.
Bit.
But either way, I guess that's what's happening. I don't know. Okay. Let's see. I keep snails in all my tanks on accident, but I tell everyone it's on purpose. Oh, okay. That makes sense. What were you guys talking about? You guys were talking about tubs and keeping tubs? Is that what was going on?
Yeah, keeping tubs, keeping plecos. People were asking me questions about plecos, which makes sense.
Yeah.
Steve asked me what the biggest cichlid I've ever kept was, and I said, well, we talked about it earlier, is the angelfish.
The angelfish that ate it, that ate everything.
Yeah, because I'm just not a big, aggressive, mean fish person. So, not that every cichlid is mean, but in general.
Right. Ketil Johansson says, introduced, I probably said your name wrong, sorry. Introduced CO2 to my aquarium. The algae liked it a lot. Man. That is not necessarily like a typical reaction that you would normally see. My guess would be that you added CO2, the pH dropped, and that's probably what algae was taking advantage of, basically. You normally won't see like an algae bloom from CO2 being added to your aquarium, mainly because algae as a single-cell organism doesn't really require that much to replicate, right? So if you had that algae happening before, it's not really reliant on CO2 like plants are in order to complete the photosynthesis required to build a plant. But my guess would be you added CO2, it dropped the pH, which made a little bit better environment for whatever CO2. And there's also the human element. Typically when people add CO2, they suddenly turn their lights on to full blast. That often happens. I'm not saying that you did that, but that often happens when people add CO2. They're like, full lights, let's go, you know. And that will oftentimes spur on a large algae bloom. So, So those would probably be the components that I would be considering. I would definitely check your GH and your KH levels, see where they're at, see if your water's kind of buffered up to deal with the variance in pH for the next little bit here as time goes on. Definitely, when introducing anything new to an aquarium, you definitely want to take into consideration doing water changes, like with CO2, because you want to make sure that your water quality is high now that you are, you're basically modifying the chemical makeup of the water. So you would want to make sure that your fertilizers are correct for the uptake for the plants. You want to make sure that your lighting doesn't go through the roof. Try to keep your lighting consistent and gradually increase the light if that's what you're planning on doing. More often than not these days, like I run my tanks on generally about like 5 hours of straight up light with the sunrise, sunset on either end. So, it's kind of a hour-long slow ramp up of light, about a 5-hour photo period, and then a slow ramp down, which overall is probably equal to about 6 hours of light. Realistically, that first half an hour and the end half an hour are kind of negligible. There's not really a whole lot of light happening. But, the shortest I've ever run with a full light was probably like 3 hours. Is generally enough time for your plants to photosynthesize, get going on what uptake your plants are going to have, and then turn the lights off because the algae's taking advantage of it, right? Until you start to get like some real strong growth from your plants that you can pull some of the plants out and go like, wow, I've got like a lot of good root growth. I've got all the signs that my plants are doing really well. They're established really well. You can go for longer periods of time if that's something that you are interested in how your tank is set up, which I think most of us are because we're human beings and we need light to reflect off of objects and go into our eyeballs so that we can see them, right?
Yes.
So it kind of sucks to have your tank not lit up very often. Just as a person, the aesthetic doesn't really help. But if you have a goal, you want to remember that it's going to be these little incremental steps to get towards the end of your goal, right? You're not going to be able to just jump straight to the end of any kind of puzzle or any kind of project. You're not just going to start at the end, right? So always remember to exercise patience, especially if you're adding CO2 to the aquarium. You want to kind of monitor your pH and see what's happening. Because sometimes you add CO2 to water and there's just like no buffering in it whatsoever, which means there's like no minerals or anything. And your pH will drop significantly, and you're looking at a much more significant drop than you would expect as an average person. Now, an easy way to kind of mitigate any damage to the fish or anything like that is to aerate the water, which will kind of nullify the CO2, but it will generally bring the O2 up, right? So the oxygen level will increase. The fish and critters and everybody that's in there won't be as dramatically affected by the pH drop in the water, right? So that's an easy way to mitigate that. Now, as far as algae growth, like I was saying, the best thing I can recommend is to get your water changes done, get your maintenance on your aquarium done on a regular basis, get it on a schedule, and then test before and after to find out what values are happening within the aquarium, right? So is the water change water that you're putting in there garbage? That could be a problem. I know that a lot of people use well water, and depending on the time of year, especially like this time of year in the northern hemisphere, right?
Mm-hmm.
In the northern hemisphere, there's a lot of fertilizers that are generally going to be creeping into wells and stuff, which will bring your nitrates and stuff like that up quite high from your tap water. I know that was happening currently in some of my friends over in Eastern Washington's water because everything's being fertilized. All the pesticides are being thrown down on stuff this time of year. And a lot of that's washing and slowly creeping into the groundwater. And the groundwater itself is shrinking a bit because it's the summertime. It's hot. There's not a lot of water being added to it. So That's the kind of stuff you want to definitely take into consideration. And once you have those water changes done and stuff like that, you can start to kind of really sort out what's going on. The thing is, like, when you do a live stream like this on the internet, it's like people want like just a super easy answer, and most things aren't. Unfortunately, that's the thing. So I know it's like a lot of information to go off of, but it's pretty simple. Lower the photo period, right? Less time with the lights on. Do your water changes. Test your water. Find out what's going on. And you might find that there's something going on, and you can correct that, and then go from there. And then it's always gonna take like a couple weeks to figure out if you did the right thing or not. So, right?
Right.
Am I right?
Probably.
I don't know. Kind of right. Maybe not. What do you got?
I just have my experience of doing like no critters in a tank yet, like no snails, no fish, no nothing. Just like remember the AGA from a couple years back, and I got one of those tanks, and had all these like fancy plants in it. And,
Fancy plants.
And so I hooked up. It came with one of those little like compressed CO2 flue ball CO2 canister thingies, which ran out in less than a day. So anyways, I had no desire to spend $20 a week on these things, so I just went and hooked up my big old compressed 20-pound CO2 container to it. It's like, not gonna deal with this nonsense anymore. So I just decided to see what happens if I just completely blast this tank with CO2 and add my fertilizer, and I had, root tabs and everything in there. And what ended up happening was the plants grew and the algae grew too, and it ended up with this crazy like string algae that looked like it was like, on the movies, if you get like a sticky substance in between your hands and you go like this and you pull it apart and it all like strings across. It was like that, but it was from substrate to the water surface. And at first I was like, okay, so here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to get my toothbrush, I'm going to swirly, and I'm going to get it out like spaghetti. Okay, that sort of worked a little, but it was slimy, so it just kind of slid off. And and I was like, okay, water change and, do that kind of stuff. Nah, and it just came back like the next day, and it was the same thing every day. And finally I was like, fine. And so I went and I found like the prettiest looking ram's horn snails I could find, which were all like these red ones, and I put them in there, and I was like, fine, rock on, have a feast. And they did actually eat all that algae, which was cool. But also then that tank had a bazillion ram's horns in it, and still does forever.
Forever.
And ever and ever. Forever.
Ever.
Forever.
Ever.
Yeah, I would have to scrape that. I would have to empty that tank completely, scrape it out, scrub it, and then refill it with brand new plants and brand new substrate and all tissue culture plants again. Oh, that's why I did it, because it was tissue culture plants and I wanted to convert them.
Them TC plants.
Yeah. And they did convert, so that was good. It was just like this crazy algae farm. Too.
Yeah. Yeah, it went totally
It was
crazy.
a twofer.
Let's see. Aubrey said maybe hornwort for cats. What's going on with that?
Oh, we were trying to find
Oh my God.
a cat-safe emergent plant for out of Zip Gun's tank. And I think we've kind of settled on the sweet potato thing.
Sci-Fi Swordsman said bone meal. I think that's for the skeleton horses.
I think so too.
Yeah. I think maybe I'll have to test that out.
Yeah, maybe.
Should we test it on the show here? Let's see.
We could. Can you
I can do that.
show people? You have to show people.
I'll have to show people. Hold on. We have to
For
load
the
the game.
24 people that are up.
there's 25 now. Somebody else showed up.
Heck yeah. They're like, oh, intermission's over. Sweet.
They're like, oh man, intermission's over. Dang.
I
wanted
loved
to-
intermission. Intermission was the best.
Ad source. Game capture.
Intermission. You know, the Offspring had that one track, Intermission. I always thought that was funny.
Intermission. Let's see.
Ooh,
We'll put the
intermission.
Minecraft right here, right in the middle. We'll go multiplayer. Oh my god. This is too hard to see. It's too small. We gotta make it bigger. There we go. I got haste too. Where are these guys?
Oh, here we go.
Oh, there's one. I need to get some bone meal though. Do I have any bone meal? That's a question. Nope. Oh god, we're gonna crash the game. I got snowballs, I got boots, I got swords.
Zipgun, do you need some bone meal?
I do.
Yes.
We need some bone meal.
Yes, Zipgun.
I shot off my rockets. I don't have any bone meal over here. Meow. Can I fly? Why can't I fly?
Oh.
Oh my god, I'm in creative mode. Oh, that makes it easy.
Oh. That's weird.
Let's go back to. Why am I in creative mode? That's weird. Let's go like this. Bone meal. Oh. How do you spell it? Oh, there's a space in there. That's why. There we go. We'll put it right there.
Gonna need 2 pieces.
How do you do this? There we go. Alright, where are these idiots at? Oh, I can fly. I believe I can fly. Okay, what's this guy doing? Can I give him bone meal? Nope.
That would be it. Huh.
I can hit him with the bone meal. Bone meal. Eat it. Nope, doesn't work.
Okay, well, that would be a negative.
I can hit him with the... Shoot some fireworks rockets at him. Yeah, didn't work.
Okay. Well,
Well, we tested it.
we've tested it here, guys.
We tested it live.
Live on the internet.
There we go. Removed. All right. There we go. Shoot some rockets off, and that was that. So no, you can't give the skeleton horses bone meal. It doesn't work.
Right.
Side by swordsman, let me know if it works. It didn't work. We tested it on the show. It didn't work.
Nope. That
Nope.
would be a negative.
But you could hit him with the bone meal. It didn't kill him.
No, I mean not immediately. You
Not
could hit them a
immediately.
lot, and it would eventually kill them.
It'd eventually get him. That's for sure.
Yeah.
It's a good point.
Yeah.
What do we got? Yeah, well, that was our little Minecraft break there. Our neighbor keeps bluegill he caught at a local pond in his 200-gallon aquaponic fish tank setup. Yeah, bluegill actually is a good fish for aquaponics. They're very hardy for aquaponic setups.
Especially if they're local,
Yeah.
because then they're,
Well, they're probably not necessarily set up for your well, are they set up? That's the wrong word. They're not necessarily adapted to your tap water, but they're generally going to be pretty good for the conditions for your aquaponics setup outside. You know, temperature and all that kind of stuff. You're going to be pretty close. One of the upsides with aquaponics versus hydroponics is that you are going to be having relatively clean water versus a hydroponic setup. Hydroponics are normally just like tons of fertilizer, and you just let it run, let it rip, and it doesn't matter what you do. Aquaponics are generally kind of a better idea as far as I'm concerned, because of the fact the environmental concerns are much better in my estimation. So it's definitely going to be the better route. for anybody's kind of outside setup, try to go aquaponics versus hydroponics, especially if you're a fish keeper, because you already have like a good foundation on how to keep the fish, and the dirty fish water is good enough for plants. You're not going to have to do too much crazy nonsense. But bluegill are pretty good because they're gonna breed, they're gonna eat a lot, and they're gonna create a lot of waste. So perfect fish for it. A lot of people use tilapia. It might be difficult to get tilapia where you're at, but you can import them pretty easily. When I say import, I mean you can just like order a big bag of them very easily these days online. It's actually pretty cheap. It's nothing too crazy. I think
Can you
last
just
time
go up to the Owajimaya and get the live ones out of the tank there?
with some giant tilapia that's already been like through hell and gone. Yeah, I mean you could pay top dollar for those, or you could import like 100
Little
fingerling
ones?
ones. Yeah. I keep saying import. Order. You could just order
Yeah.
like 100 fingerlings for maybe $100, and I think the shipping was like $40 or something. So it's nothing too crazy to get some tilapia ordered up. But if you can catch bluegill, like if you're just netting them or something, like, I would just go that route. Why not?
Yeah. Pay your kids to do that. Well, when I was a kid, it was a thing where if you were under 18, you didn't need to have a license to pull fish out of a lake, right? And it was okay to net the fish because they'd be like, oh, these cute little kids doing cute little kid things. And so I could net as many sunfish as many sunnies as I wanted out of my lake.
Right.
And nobody would say anything. And I would just put them in a bucket and look at them for a while and put them back in. But still, now I'm thinking, oh, I could totally see some guy being like, hey, I'll pay you $5 for that bucket of fish and just walking away with it. But
I don't even
I
know.
think it would depend on if the DNR was around.
Yeah, I don't even know what the legality is on that. I don't know. Hey, man, check your local code.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know what the hell's going on where everyone is in the whole entire world.
Right. And the stuff that happened to me 35 years ago is probably not going to be exactly relevant today.
Yeah, probably not.
Yeah.
But
In the middle of nowhere.
I will say any rando walking up offering to give you $5. It doesn't matter how old you are. Just get out of there. Like, just be like, I don't want to deal with this rando.
For
It's
whatever
not a good
reason,
idea.
I would be like, it would obviously be like my dad or my uncle or something like that.
Okay. Well, your dad or your uncle wouldn't be a rando now, would they?
No, I know.
Yeah. Those are the definition of rando is like you don't know their name.
Yeah.
Yeah. Random guy. Anyhow, it's 3:00.
Oh.
Good luck to y'all out there in the world of whatever it is that you're doing. I did. I clicked that button on accident. I didn't mean to. Good luck to everybody out there in your fish keeping stuff. I'll be back on Monday, and then that's it for a long time. Thank you for our super chatters. Big D Smoke, Mikey Fishy, Fish Tank Barn, Maria M, and Steve Bearteach for some gas money. Thank you very much for the super chatters. We didn't get any new members. You should, if you're not a member, you should become a member, or I don't know, just stop doing whatever it is that you're doing. If you're not a member, just cut it out. You know what I mean?
Stop not doing that.
Richard McCarthy says, thanks for the pond netting advice. Yeah, definitely put a net over any pond that's outside. Raccoons will get in there and eat your fish, 100%. So yeah, do that. Get a net, do that thing. I want to give a big shout out to all the patronizers for being cool McCoolertons and being a patrons. Let's go over here real quick to the relationship manager button on Patreon, and we'll see who's at the top of the list today. Chirish is at the top of the list. Matthew Cox and BCFR Aquatics. Those are the top of the list today. And who's at the bottom? Who's at the bottom of the list? Who's not on Patreon anymore? M. Den Hollander is no longer right? No, Emden Hollander still is. Emden Hollander is still number one. Still number one. Quickly followed by Steven Skoglund and Long Wu. These people have canceled. See that?
Oh.
Look, that's canceled. That's canceled. That's canceled.
Okay, when their
See that? That's canceled.
amount of time is gone.
Yeah. There's a bunch of people that have
Gotcha.
canceled their Patreon. There's more people that have canceled that are currently patrons. Can you believe that?
I mean, yeah.
They go. They just come. They go. They're like, hey, I don't even like what you're doing anymore, and they hate the internet.
In the night.
And they're like, I gotta get out of here. I gotta kick rocks. Just like me. I gotta go get a whole bunch of vaccines so I can go to Peru. So yeah. Bye bye.
Kick it easy.